All right, today we're doing some more inverse trig functions. You can find them like we did last time, but today we're going to be doing some compound ones, so ones that are more like two-step problems than just one step. So recall from the last notes that here you do not get 150. These don't just cancel. You should actually get 30 degrees, and that comes from the range of your sine function. We're only looking at this half for sine inverse. So we're never going to get something over here. You're only ever going to get these values. So some examples. Here we have a compound one. So we're going to do this chunk first, get an answer, and then do the sine inverse. So we're going to draw two separate unit circles. So first to place 7 pi over 6, we're 1 pi over 6 past 1 pi, so we're somewhere about here. And pi over 6 is a 30-degree angle. So we have -1/2 over here and -√3 over 2 on there. Cosine again is your x value, so we're going to take this as the answer. So we get sine inverse of -√3 over 2. And now we need to solve this one. So draw a unit circle again. And sine goes on your right-hand side. We're negative, so go down. Sine is your y value, so we get -√3 over 2 as our y value. We want to figure out an angle because it's a sine inverse. So this angle right here would have to be a 60 or pi over 3. And then since we're down below the x-axis, it's going to be negative. So your answer is going to be negative pi over 3 or negative 60 degrees. I usually do radians, but you can do either radians or degrees as long as you label your answer. Okay, another one. Same idea. Start with through parentheses and go from there. So draw your unit circle. We're at negative pi over 4, so we're down here. This would be a 45-degree angle. So -√2 over 2, positive √2 over 2. Again, we're looking at cosine, so we want the x value. So you get cosine inverse of √2 over 2. Draw your triangle or your unit circle again. Cosine is the top half. We are positive, so we need to be in the positive quadrant. Cosine is your x, so we get a √2 over 2 there. This would have to be a 45-degree angle or pi over 4. And there's that one. All right, so now doing the opposite way. We have the inverse on the inside. You're still going to do the parentheses first. So here is our unit circle. Tangent is on the right-hand side. We're positive, so we're going to be up in this first quadrant. So here tangent is a little different. We want to figure out when would we get 1 for tangent. So you're looking at when does y over x equal 1. So when does y over x equal 1? Well, when they're the same. So they're the same when you have √2 over 2 and √2 over 2, which would mean this would have to be a 45-degree angle. So you end up getting sine of 45 or sine of pi over 4. Draw your unit circle again. We're at our 45-degree angle. You have √2 over 2, √2 over 2. Sine is the y value. So your answer is going to be √2 over 2. So again, to decide what your final answer is, check what the outside one is. Here we have a sine, so you want your final answer to be a ratio. If I go back up here, our outside was an inverse, so you want your answer to be an angle. All right, one more. The last one here, you want to start with cosine, or your cosine inverse. Cosine has to be the top half. And then we have the negative, so it has to be on the negative side. Cosine is your x, so we're going to label the x side, which makes this a half. So this would have to be a 30 or a pi over 6-degree angle on the inside. So now our answer to this chunk is going to be this angle. So that angle is going to be 150 or 5 pi over 6. So be careful when you do this, you don't just jump to sine of 30, because that would give you the wrong answer. So we end up getting sine of 5 pi over 6 here. You draw your unit circle again. 5 pi over 6 is right here. We have a half, negative root 3 over 2, because this is a 30. Sine is your y value, so your answer is going to be a half. So again, check on Schoology to see exactly what the homework is, what's optional and what's not. And that's it for this section.